Okay, everyone, welcome to our first monthly adult craft. Today we will be making an oil pastel painting. The things that we need, which you should have in your kit or you are providing your own, we will have this 6x8 white stretched canvas. You should have a number 2 pencil, and you should have the Portfolio 12 different colored oil pastels. All right, so I am going to switch to a camera that's overhead of my desk so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And you can follow along, but this video will be posted on our Vimeo site later on so you can watch it again. All right. Okay, here we go. I do apologize if this is not completely center in the screen. I'm sure that might drive some people crazy, but we'll just keep going. All right, so let's get started with the corners of our painting. We're gonna make a rainbow effect here, and we're gonna choose different colors and we'll blend it in toward the end. So let's start on this corner, and I would suggest, although you can use whatever color you like, to use purple. So we're gonna go right here, and the key to using this, it's similar to a crayon, but it's more smooth. But you're still going to want to color it in pretty hard. You don't want to be soft with this. And we will blend it in later, so don't worry about how it looks right now. But try to make it as dark as possible so that it will blend better. Just do your best. All right. So there we go. We got our purple. And then we're going to start up here, and let's start with our red, the other end of the rainbow. And do the same thing. Try to get it fairly similar size to the purple corner. I will not be exact here, but again, we're just gonna do our best. And color it in as dark as possible. Now these are still pretty fragile, so don't squeeze too hard. You might break it in half, but put a little pressure when you're pressing down into the canvas. All right. So then we're going to go back to this corner, and we're going to come in with a blue. All right, so later on, we're going to be blending all of this together so it looks a little more smooth than these harsh lines between colors. Might feel a little weird on the canvas. It's not like paper, but again, we're just gonna do the best that we can. Try to make it as deep a color as possible. All right, now we're gonna go back up to this corner, and we're gonna come in with this orange-red color and come up into this corner and do a very similar line here. make it as deep as possible. If I'm going too fast for you, don't worry, this will be posted again on our Vimeo site after this tutorial is over. All right. All right, now we're gonna go back down to this corner here, and we're gonna come in with this light blue. You might get some of this on your hands, is a good example. That's pretty normal. It's just oil-based, so make sure you use like a soap, but it's definitely washable. Be careful with your clothes though, but it will come out with detergent, I promise. All right. There's no extra points for perfection, so just go all in. You can make these lines as thin or thick as you would like. In fact, if I had done this again, I probably would have made this purple a little bit larger. But c'est la vie. Going with the flow. Try to get the white parts between the lines. Try to color those in. In fact, I'll go back at the end before we blend to fill in some of these other lines that I didn't get to. All right, moving on. We're gonna go back up to this corner and we're gonna come in with the yellow. Okay, you already see a little bit of this blending. I got a little bit of the orange into my yellow stripe. It's no big deal. Some of this will be blended in when we go back later, but it doesn't need to be perfect. Rainbows aren't perfect. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Now we're going to go back to this corner here, and we're going to come in with the darker green. Here's a good example of oil pastels breaking on you. It's not a big deal though, because it's like a normal crayon where you can move back this paper. So let me do that. All right. Now I don't have the luxury of that tip, but it should work just as well. We just have one more color to go with this light green here, so a total of 8. So at this point I'm kind of splitting it in half. A little bit harder without the tip, but it's working just fine. So if your tip had broken off in prior colors or in future colors, do not fret, it can be saved. You see, I'm bending the crayon here. I'm bending this pastel, pushing it a little too hard. Alright. Okay, we're gonna go in with our last color here. So we should just have space for one more line, and I'm gonna fill it in with this light green. Again, you are welcome to use whatever colors you like. If you wanted to add in the pink, you are welcome to do so. And if you were a fan of either of these, any of these other colors, you could have added them as well, but mine is going to be bright colors, so I'm using these colors. All right, going in with this light green. Oh, and I broke it. Isn't it nice when the tutorial videos show you what could happen when you make somewhat of a mistake? But there are no mistakes in this craft, in my opinion. We're just continuing on. One of my hairs is getting into this piece. Okay, so now at this point I've filled in all of these lines, but I'm going to go back before we start blending, and another hair, and try to fill in these edges here between the different lines, as well as kind of trying to darken the center. It should help it blend better and cover more of the white of the canvas. Although if there's white showing at the end of your craft, which mine probably will, again, it's no big deal. We will all take pleasure in knowing that we made this ourselves. blue's pretty dark already. Right. We do have a little bit of overlap, as you can see, but after we go in with blending, it's not going to matter as much, so I am not concerned about that. I'm gonna go back up to this yellow. Alright, so this is what we have before we blend. I'm going to try to shake away the excess oil pastel, or you can blow. I would recommend not wiping if you can avoid it, as it will just spread the colors in places you may not want it to go. Alright, some of this will just go into the blending. Okay. All right, as you can see, I did a little bit of straightening up before we're going into the blending. So now we're going to use the one thing that I did not include in the kit, but all of you should have this at home, and I've already mentioned it. So, piece of tissue paper. I'm gonna fold it like pretty thick, but we're gonna use it to blend. You can start in any which direction. In fact, I might start over here. Basically, you're just rubbing it. I'm smoothing it down, if you would. Don't wipe too hard, because you'll wipe the oil pastel clear off of your canvas. But it will smooth some of these lines out. So I'm going to take this number 2 pencil, and we're going to draw whatever we like. We're going to end up making this a silhouette of something, so you can choose whatever object you like. Some people might put like a mountain scape here, or I'm going to do a tree. So just to the best of your ability, pardon my horrible drawing ability, but we're just going to do an outline of a tree here, just with your pencil, just so that you can see where we're going to go back in with the black oil pastel. And this is my attempt at like side branches, but you can add in whatever you like. I'm sure many of your drawings will be better than mine. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be detailed. And don't press too hard. You might puncture the canvas. I hope you don't, but just be careful. All right, there's my attempt at a tree. All right, it does not have to be perfect. We are going to go back over it with a black oil pastel. All right, and again, if I'm going too fast and you want to perfect your tree, this video will be available later on, so you could come back to it at a future time and pause this section until you're complete, or come back to it later once you're done with your tree. All right, now we're gonna go in and color in this tree with this black oil pastel. And if you can see, it should cover these colors, so it's just a silhouette and you shouldn't see too much of the colors underneath, but you might see some, kind of like I can still see some white from the canvas. It's not going to be perfect, especially this tree drawing. You can come in the library and tease me if you would like. That is fine. And as I'm going in, I might make a few changes to my tree structure, which I can do. I just want to cover in those pencil lines that I made earlier. I'm trying very hard not to brush away the black amongst this other colors. If you can either blend it in with the rest of your silhouette or blow it away, that's the best thing. Otherwise, you're going to end up with black where you don't want it to be. But if you do, so be it. Again, we're not making any mistakes here. We're just having some fun with oil pastels today. It's not going to go up in any art museum. It might not even make it onto my walls, but again, it's something that I can say that I made. Just pencil marks. I'm just gonna go back in, try to fill in these lines. Maybe spread this tree out to the edges, why not? It's a really big tree. Wise old tree. Some of these branches are overlapping. Why not? If you find yourself so inclined to add like leaves or other things to your tree silhouette, you can do that. Not everyone's tree will be the same. My tree will not have leaves. Just to save on some time and to not continue with my poor drawing abilities. All right. Let's see. Some of these limbs may defy gravity. But I'm neither a physicist or a botanist. All right. Okay. So there we go. We have an oil pastel painting with our rainbow colors and a silhouette of whatever we chose. Here is my tree. All right.